Well, greetings everyone, and welcome to the Unity of Claremont Sunday lesson for September the 27th, 2020. We are on part 3 of the Eye of the Storm book by Dr. Gary Simmons. And the title of today's talk is Who is Your Enemy? I'm going to begin with a little trivia question. It doesn't seem to be immediately connected to the topic, but you'll see how it fits in. Just for fun, can you guess how many tires go flat in the United States every year? I'm going to tell you the number that I got off the internet. So, of course, we can have confidence that it will be absolutely 100% accurate because it comes from the internet. So go ahead and just mentally take a guess. How many tires go flat in the United States every year? We had some good guesses at this morning's service, ranging from 1 million to 10 million. And the actual answer is, drum roll please, 222 million flat tires every year in the United States. Were you close? Probably not. That's a very big number. Okay, so here's another question for you. Does it upset you that there are 222 million flat tires in the United States every year? Probably not. But when you have a flat tire, that is usually at least a little bit upsetting. A flat tire can totally disrupt your day. And in some situations, that could have major consequences. Being late for an important event, being stuck in bad weather in the middle of nowhere would make a flat tire much more stressful. The point I'm getting to is that we don't have emotional responses unless something has meaning for us personally. 220 million flat tires in a year is not upsetting. But when your tire goes flat, that's another story altogether. And if something has meaning to you, it's because you give it meaning. In fact, everything in your life only has meaning because you give it meaning. This is the point of the first few lessons in the workbook for A Course in Miracles. Everything is actually meaningless unless I give it meaning. And then it has meaning for me. It has the meaning I give it. So back to the flat tire example. If you are upset or even just annoyed by the flat tire, Dr. Simmons calls this a storm. Every instance of fear, from panic all the way down to mere stress, is a storm. Every instance of anger, from mindless, murderous rage all the way down to mere irritation, is a storm. Basically, if you're not at peace, you're having a storm. Usually, several storms at once. This is why silent meditation is so beneficial. By quieting the mind, we decrease the number of thoughts and eventually have no thoughts. And if we have no thoughts, just resting in simple awareness, we're not giving meaning to anything. If we're not thinking this is good and that is bad, if we're not giving meaning to the persons, situations, and events in our lives, then there's nothing to be upset about, nothing to trigger the fear, anger, or guilt, and we can experience inner peace. Dr. Simmons calls this being in the eye of the storm. Just like the calm center of a hurricane, when we are centered in the I am, the Christ of our being, we are at peace. Every spiritual tradition teaches how to achieve this inner peace. Survey the religions of the world, from Asia to India to the Middle East to Africa to Europe to the Americas. They have all produced spiritual masters who taught how to achieve inner peace. In unity, our teacher and way shower is Jesus, who said, "Love your enemies." On the face of it, that little nugget of instruction seems ridiculous. It really is a contradiction. If I love my enemy, he wouldn't be my enemy. To which I think Jesus would have replied, "Exactly. Because if you love your enemies, then you have no enemies." But of course, way back in the first century AD, when Jesus was teaching his fellow Jews, they probably thought that by enemy he was referring to the Romans, who ruled over Palestine as part of their empire. Or possibly he could have meant the Samaritans, whose differences on religious grounds frequently escalated into violence. Or they might have interpreted enemy to be one of the Canaanite kingdoms, which was also engulfed by the Roman Empire. And of course, there were disputes among the Jews, disagreements and grievances between one Jew and another. And in your own life today, who or what do you consider to be an enemy? A relative, a coworker, a competitor, a diagnosis, an ideology? The first question then is, who is the enemy? Well, the enemy is a situation that you want to control, a disagreement where you need to be right, or a change you are resisting. This is the central theme of Dr. Simmons' acclaimed book. The enemy is the stormy experience caused by your own thoughts and emotions, which you project onto the screen of your life. Jesus said, "As within, so without." He used numerous analogies to express that if you're having a storm, it comes from within you and manifests in your outer world. The outer storm is the fruit of the inner paradigm. And so Jesus said, "By their fruits you shall know them." Of course, what we really want is to be authentic. When our actions are fueled by fear or anger, we're not acting authentically. When we act authentically, expressing the great I am, the Christ of our being, we become the avenue through which God can express. So, having identified the enemy, Jesus, our way shower, gave us the formula. It has 4 parts. Love our enemies, bless them that curse us, do good to them that hate us, and pray for them who despitefully use and persecute us. Last week I distributed little wallet cards with Jesus' words in an affirmative format based on what it means to love, bless, do good, and pray. To love is to accept, embrace, and value. To bless is to endow something or something with the capacity to be good in your life. To do good means to do the right thing. And to pray is to give your thoughts to God. Love, bless, do good, and pray. This is the method. This is your magic wand to calm any storm. How to love your enemy. The cards I distributed with this list on it affirmed, "I accept, value, and embrace this situation as a growth opportunity. Every storm is a growth opportunity. It requires seeing the situation from a different perspective so that it can be valued as a growth opportunity. So here are a couple of everyday examples. I once had a friend who said that he was never apprehensive about a blind date. I figure, he would say, I will have a good time, or a good story to tell about it, or maybe both. Another example is provided by my handsome young husband Tim, who explains, when I am job hunting, I never decline a job interview. I will either get a good job or get good practice at doing job interviews. Every situation can be viewed in different ways, and you're always free to choose how you will see things. So, returning to our flat tire example, your initial instinctive knee jerk reaction might be fear. Oh no, now I will be late and bad things will happen. Or anger. My husband should have replaced these slick tires months ago. Or even guilt. I should have replaced these slick tires months ago. You could even have all three of these reactions at the same time. Anger, fear, and guilt frequently run together. Let's apply Jesus' formula to this example. Step 1 is to step back. We begin with prayer, which is to give your thoughts to God. Now, we're not talking about reciting some affirmation formula or using magic words. We're not talking about repeating some platitude. This is about remembering that the all good God is everywhere equally present and that you stand in that one presence in this situation. With this realization, you can give your thoughts and emotions to God, whatever they are. In this way, you are choosing to see this event from your center, your Christ self. And then you can ask yourself, what thoughts and feelings am I having and why? Here I am, standing in the presence of God, and I'm angry. I'm having judgmental thoughts. I'm focused on deciding who to blame so that I can be mad at them. I'm practicing what I will say to them to show them how wrong they were and why it is their fault my tire is flat and I am suffering unjustly. Oh God, these are my thoughts and feelings. Now you're ready to move on to the second step, which is to accept those thoughts and feelings. I'm feeling anger or I'm feeling guilt. Why? Is it because I've lost control of the situation and that always upsets me? Am I feeling vulnerable despite all my efforts to live in a well-ordered, predictable world? Once you can see that your enemy is your thoughts and the feelings they evoke, you can choose to love your enemy. To love is to accept. Love yourself by accepting yourself. Love the situation by accepting the situation. Then you can choose to see things differently. You can choose to see things from your center. You can choose to take the next step in the formula Jesus gave, which is to bless. To bless is to change the situation from a physical event into a spiritual event. I'm a spiritual being. I am the divine child of God. I choose to bless this situation. Using my power of faith, I now transform it into an opportunity for growth and for the good of all. Guided by Spirit, I am the avenue through which God can manifest. Which brings us to the next step, to do good, which is to do the right thing in this situation. Should I try to change the tire myself? Call a friend or relative. Call for roadside assistance. Call for a taxi. Stand by the car and look distressed, hoping someone will stop. Having affirmed that Spirit will guide you, Spirit will guide you. Whatever you decide to do, the storm is calmed. Seeing the storm from your center, giving the storm meaning by viewing it with the eyes of the Christ of your being, and choosing the action which will be the avenue through which God can manifest, will calm the storm. Now, Jesus' words make perfect sense. If you love your enemy, you have no enemy. Here's another tool from the book to help you with this method of storm calming. Fold a piece of paper into thirds. At the top of the first column, write body. In the middle column, write people. And in the third column, write life situations. Under each heading, make a list of your enemies. I've filled this one in with some examples for you. For instance, if you dislike your weight, just write fat or overweight as your enemy in the body column, and do the same for people and life situations. Step number 2. For each enemy listed, consider how you might apply Jesus' instruction to love, bless, do good, and pray for your enemies. Use your imagination, and on another sheet of paper write a brief statement about how it might look to love, bless, do good, and pray for each enemy. Step number 3. Now look at your list and pick an enemy with the least emotional energy attached to it. Make a commitment to actually follow through with Jesus' instruction. The idea is to practice this process until it becomes automatic. Fourth, he suggests make a drawing that illustrates the difference between needing to be right and doing the right thing. Okay, I stumbled a little bit over this step because drawing is just really not my strong suit. So I did a little cheating and I unloaded some visuals from the internet. These are some visuals that I might draw if I could draw, showing the resolution of my storms. Then for extra credit, commit to embracing each and every enemy on your list. We want to know this process so well that it becomes our default setting, our go-to solution for all the storms in our lives. Jesus said, "Be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect." And of course, practice makes perfect. Are you having the thought right now that this is an impossibility? Are you thinking that you cannot ever be perfect? Well, that is a storm. The thought that you can never be perfect is a storm in itself. You can change your thinking and change your life. You've always been and always will be the perfect child which God created. So for our closing affirmation, we'll use the affirmation from today's daily word, which seems, well, divinely inspired. So please join me in affirming, with faith, nothing is impossible for me. Amen. So be it. And so it is. Your love offerings can be sent by check to Unity of Claremont, Post Office Box 641, Mineola, Florida 34755, or If you would prefer to give by using a credit card, you can visit our website at unityofclaremont.com, and on the opening page at the bottom there's a donate button. Click on the button and you will be instructed how to make your credit card donation or to set up an automatic monthly donation. So this is Nancy Willingham. Until we meet again next week, have a wonderful week, and remember to love, bless, do good, pray, and be at peace.